Well, welcome to 700 Club Israel. An alarming new poll is making headlines. When it comes to supporting Israel or Hamas, 60% of Gen Z said they support the terror group. The fallout from this is much more than numbers on a page. Well, it's spilling out onto the streets.
In the wake of the deadliest attack against Jews since the Holocaust, the streets were flooded with protests against Israel, with shouts of Free Palestine, from the river to the sea, and globalize the Intifada. Cities around the world and college campuses around the U.S. stood up to tell Israel to stand down. In the new book from best-selling author Ben Shapiro, the conservative pundit says something is deeply wrong in the West. The scavengers are on the prowl. So he issues a rallying cry. It's time for the lions to fight back.
Well, joining us now via Zoom is the co-founder of The Daily Wire, as well as the host of one of the top podcasts in the nation, if not the world. So, Ben Shapiro, thank you for joining us. You've got a lot of fans around here.
And thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I've got to ask, your book, Lions and Scavengers, you must have jumped out of your chair when Rising Lion was the operational title when Israel went after Iran and the weapons of mass destruction. So what was your reaction to that?
It was definitely a pure coincidence and a happy coincidence, because obviously I think that Israel striking Iran after being under threat from Iran for decades at this point was definitely the kind of move that a lion would make. So, good for Israel for doing that. Good for President Trump for taking out the Iranian nuclear facilities.
When you wrote the book, were you aware of Numbers chapter 23? I assume you were, but it's not in the book, but it's definitely part of Scripture.
Yes. I mean, definitely when I was talking about lions, that there are many biblical references to lions, the Lion of Judah, the Lion of David, Samson among the lions. I mean, like there are many references to lions throughout Scripture, and that was definitely, kind of front of mind.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the protests, because it just seems to be amazing to me that Israel can win every battle, can win all the wars, but it seems to be unable to win the peace, any kind of lasting peace. And the protests that we see, it used to be, I sort of expected it on the streets of Ramallah. I expected candy to be distributed anytime there was a terror attack, the terrorists to be rewarded. But we're now seeing it in New York, London, Paris, Ivy League campuses. What's changed in the West?
I mean, I think what's changed in the West is that as a civilization, we grew tired of defending ourselves, and we simply allowed our kids, mainly, to become scavengers. The division that I make in the book between lions and scavengers is an ideological and philosophical one. Lions are people who wish to build up the institutions of Western civilization, people who want to build social fabric, who see that they have a godly duty to act in the world. Scavengers are people who look at their problems and immediately assume that society is to blame for all of that and all the systems have to be torn to the ground. And when you don't teach kids personal responsibility, when you teach them that their problems are actually somebody else's fault, and when you teach them that the greatest virtue is victimhood, what you end up with is an entire generation of people who buy into a sort of oppressor-oppressed matrix, whereby success means that you're exploiting somebody, and failure means that you have been exploited and are therefore a victim and are therefore justified in anything that you do.
Well, I think it's actually taught into them. I'm not sure it's an active choice, but I'm hearing it again and again and again that, if you've made money, if you've had success in this world, it must have been because you took advantage of somebody. And it just seems to be endemic among young people. At the same time, I've got to ask, why do you think they've been so quick to embrace this thought pattern?
I mean, I think the reason is because if you're looking at particularly highly educated and fairly wealthy young people, they're bored. I mean, they're bored. They have been robbed of the place that God used to hold in Americans' lives. And now they're filling that with some other great cause. And the greatest cause they can think of is tearing down all the systems that have supposedly given them this unearned wealth that allows them a feeling of kind of moral superiority, to look at the wealth that they grew up with, the prosperity and the education, and spit in its face and say, well, that's only because I am privileged. I'm better than all the other people who are like me. I'm the kind of person who is going to turn that privilege against the privilege itself. And now you're the hero in the story rather than the villain in your own mind.
Why aren't they turning it to, I'll use an old phrase, noblesse oblige, that from that position of privilege, that they have an absolute duty to help the people around them? Why aren't they taking that tack?
So I think that they actually believe that that's what they're doing. I think a lot of them believe that the way to help people who are impoverished or people who are not succeeding is by tearing down the people at the top of the system, or by tearing down the system itself. It's a lot easier to call for that than it is to actually make personal change in your life. It's the same reason you'll see so many people say that they want to raise the top marginal income tax rate, but so few people who will actually just sign bigger checks to the federal government, which you totally can do on your tax forms. The revealed preference is that they don't actually want to help people who are impoverished or suffering. What they actually want to do is virtue signal. And this is virtue signaling comes very cheap. It does not require major commitment.
In trying to tear down the whole system, and I'm definitely hearing that from protest groups today, that the whole system needs to be torn down. Do they actually understand they're buying into a Marxist ideology, that critical theory that says first we have to tear everything down before we can rebuild it properly?
I'm not sure that they know that that's what they're doing. That's clearly what they're doing. And I think what they would say is everything has to be torn down. And if you want to call me a communist, go ahead. And that's why what you've seen alongside those poll statistics that are so terrible about Hamas is that among young people, sort of antipathy toward socialism and communism has disappeared. So capitalism is actually more unpopular with many young people at this point than socialism and communism.
Yeah, I agree. Let's turn our focus to Israel. And it really does pain me to hear in the climate today, Israel being accused of genocide, being accused of being an apartheid state, a colonial power. All of these things, I know from history, are completely false, but that narrative seems to be taking over. Why?
I mean, the sick and perverse lie that is being told that you're talking about here. What that really is about is, again, the fact that Israel is highly successful in a wildly unsuccessful region of the world, that Israel, and particularly its people, which they've shown in the last war, is committed to the idea of duty in the world and acting in the world in aggressive, innovative, and useful ways. And I think that when people who are scavengers look at Israel, they look at Israel the same way they see America, as a great exploiter. Israel's success is actually the reason they hate Israel. And so the sort of bizarre response by Israel in public relations has been, well, look how successful we are. Look at how we're trying to fight terrorism. Look how meticulous we're being in the war. And they don't understand why that's backfiring. And the answer is that it's back because the more successful Israel is, the more it underscores for the scavengers just how evil Israel must be. The only way that Israel could ever get out of that particular box is simply by failing, is by surrendering. And that I think is the entire goal.
I think we need sort of a re-education of these critics. Let's talk about one thing that you just experienced, that you took Elon Musk, you were with him in a tour in Auschwitz. What did you see change in him? What was that experience like for you, and what do you think it meant for him?
I think for Elon is a very considered human being. I think that Elon almost has an outsider's perspective on being human in certain ways. And so for him, the thing that I hope that he took away was that Elon is very optimistic about human beings and about human nature in a way that I am not. I think that when he looks at Auschwitz, and he and I had sort of a conversation backstage about this, his main idea about humans, that human beings are naturally sociable and therefore have an innate moral sense. And that's what makes him hopeful about expanding humanity to the stars. And the point I was making to him is there's also a real down, ugly side to humanity that is what Auschwitz is. And if you don't see both of those sides for what they are, it's very difficult to navigate how we actually ought to structure our systems and how we ought to treat other people. And so what I hope that he took away from Auschwitz was a recognition that human beings are not inherently good, that human beings actually have both the capacity for greatness, but also a massive capacity for sin, and we have to be very careful.
Well, what do you hope people take away from your book? And I guess what are the guiding principles for someone if you want to be a lion, you want to no longer be a scavenger. You don't want to succumb to that way of thinking. What are the principles to actually be a lion and operate your life that way?
So there's a God above you. That God demands things of you. You have agency in the world, and you have a duty to act well in the world. And what that means is that there's a lion and a scavenger in all of us. The lion is saying, get up, face your problems down, solve your problems, make your community better, do the right thing. And the scavenger is saying, blame everybody else for your problems, tear down all of those systems. Envy is the most important thing that you can participate in. And so we really need to fight the envious instinct within all of us. This is a story of Cain and Abel, right? Sin crouches at our door, but we can overcome it.
Well, thanks for being with us. We're out of time. The book is called Lions and Scavengers. I guess it was prophetic in Rising Lion. You predicted that before it happened. It's brand new. It's already a bestseller. Make sure you can get a copy wherever books are sold. And also be sure to subscribe to the Ben Shapiro Show on your favorite podcast app. Ben, thank you for being with us. And again, you got a lot of fans around here. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thousands of children go to school each day without enough to eat. Yet thanks to you, CBN Israel is helping them get the nutrition they need. And it's more than just giving them a meal. They're also giving them a chance for a better future.
Today, CBN Israel prepared nutritious sandwiches for hundreds of Israeli school children suffering from hunger. The staff worked together to make the sandwiches, which would help the children get through the school day while relieving the financial burden on their families. This project is part of an ongoing partnership with an organization that runs this program daily.
We provide breakfast for unprivileged children all around Israel, children who have food insecurity. So we give breakfast for them in school. 17,000 kids receive full breakfast every day from Nevet. And what we're meaning is to give them the opportunity to learn and to focus on studying and not to care about the food and the other aspects. So CBN, the donation, gives us the opportunity to subsidize those breakfasts to the school. And also they help us to make sandwiches, which is great and helps the school a lot. So first of all, thank you for your donation and your help. It helps us a lot to create this program and to increase our activity all around Israel. Just their meaning and they're willing to help. It's very, very grateful, and we are so thankful for that. They just help a child in the end to study and to change his future. I mean, this is how people and kids can create better future for them. So when they eat healthy food and they can concentrate on school, this is the way to shape your future and build a better future for yourself. And you can do that with thousands of kids every day, so it's amazing impact.
You may not have known that there's 70,000 children in Israel being served by that just one NGO, and they're suffering. The modern term is called food insecurity. I grew up with this term. They're hungry, and they need food for them. CBN Israel is standing with that group. We're helping them financially. We're also helping them very tangibly as they make lunches for school children. You just saw it, and you saw it in action. If you're a member, if you're a donor to CBN Israel, thank you. That's your gift in action. If you're not a donor, I invite you to join with us. It's real simple. Call this special number, 1-800-350-2230. You can also go to our website, cbn.com/support Israel. You can also text to give. You can text support Israel to 71777. You're joining with tens of thousands of people that want to stand with Israel to make sure people have enough food, people who are evacuees in this war have shelter, people who are coming in as immigrants have a provision, have a way forward, have a livelihood. You're doing all of it, and it's wonderful what's happening where we say, yes, we want to stand with Israel, and we want to do it very tangibly. So if that's you, you want to do it, call us 1-800-350-2230. Well, wake up, have some coffee, do some studying, and then go explore the Old City. That's how a student from Regent University started his day in Israel. Christian Cox was part of a year-long exchange program at Hebrew University. For him, it was the opportunity of a lifetime, and the fulfillment of a dream. CBN's Julie Stahl has his story.
Christian Aaron Cox, a business and management major, made his home at Hebrew University Mount Scopus in Jerusalem as an exchange student.
My mom always said about the Western Wall that it's the closest place to God, and she talked about putting the note into the wall and how special it was. So ever since then, I always wanted to come to Israel.
When Christian arrived, he found a different and exciting world.
There's a plethora of people, which, it kind of looks different on the media per se, but when you get here, you just see how beautiful a country it is. At my university, I was educated with students from the West Bank. So I was on the right side, I had a Jewish person. On the left side, I had a Palestinian, Muslim. In front of me, there was a Christian, and it was all a melting pot inside of the university itself.
For his daily schedule over the 11-month stay, he took advantage of his surroundings.
I would wake up, have my coffee, do some studying, and then after that, I would go to the Old City. So my days consisted of either first I would go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and pray, and then go to the Western Wall, and then the Garden of Gethsemane, or I would do a reverse.
Christian also sensed the sadness and pain brought on by the war.
You do see the hostage posters everywhere, little kids all the way to old. It's the first person I met was on the light rail. I met a woman whose son was held captive, an American Israeli, and you could really hear the pain in the voice per se.
He also found how Israelis deal with the regular red alert sirens and incoming rockets quite surprising.
And that was very surprising because, when you see on the news, you see war and you think, oh my gosh, you're in a bomb shelter all the time. No, here, literally the next morning or right after, you go eat breakfast. All the shops are open. Everything resumes. It's insane.
With his name being Christian, there was no doubt about his faith, and he felt very welcome.
Most of my friends here are Jewish. They're very loving to me, actually, and they thank me for being here. And
Professor Abraham Silver teaches the love of Jerusalem at Hebrew University Mount Scopus, overlooking the city.
And on this side of me is the Judean desert. The Judean desert, where Jesus went and spent 40 days in solitude. The Judean desert where David fled. And in fact, right over here is the path that Jesus used to walk up to the city of Jerusalem.
According to Silver, this is where Titus looked down on the Jewish temple before destroying it.
Hebrew University, part of it is absolutely this incredible story of being in the land of the Bible. Part of it is also a center of high tech and biotech and AI and nanotechnology. The image of Hebrew University is a pottery shard from the time of Jesus alongside a chip from nanotechnology.
Students connected to Western civilization often feel the reality of Jerusalem in their heart and faith.
Christian felt that in a big way. He was one of my students. He was an amazing student who got it. He got the power of being here, and that power was able to infuse his faith and make him a stronger person.
And he says Hebrew University also gains from the foreign students.
There's this incredible diverse population from America, from the Far East, from Europe, that all come together and share their values and ideas and find their own selves here as they're sharing those ideas.
Christian describes living in the biblical history as beautiful.
It's like Jesus walked here, the Garden of Gethsemane, before Jesus was crucified. It's like being in the Garden of Gethsemane. It says that he sweated blood because he was about to be sacrificed on the cross. It's beautiful. The people of Israel, the university, the land itself, it's so much better than I could have ever imagined.
Quoting Martin Luther King Jr., Christian says his message to the people back home is Israel is a democracy and should be fought for. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Yeah, Israel clearly is a democracy. They have Muslims in the Knesset. The Arab Muslim population is allowed to vote. All of these libels, the false accusations that somehow or other Israel is an apartheid society, You just heard it. You heard it firsthand from a student at Hebrew University, that he's sitting next to Palestinian Arabs. He's sitting next to Christians. He's sitting next to Jews, all studying together in Jerusalem at Hebrew University. That's the truth. That's what's really happening in Israel. Now, I've got something for you. CBN Israel has created and sustained this wonderful Israeli Institute at Regent University. And if you want to apply, right now we have 3 students who are studying full-time at Hebrew University, all sponsored by the Israeli Institute and through generous donations people make to CBN Israel. If you want to apply to Regent University to be part of the Israeli Institute, it's real simple. Here's a number you can call: 1-866-910-7615, or you can go online at regent.edu and say, yes, I want more information about the Israeli Institute. I want to know more information about Regent University. We'd be glad to give it to you, and you can participate as well. I can't guarantee you'll be one of the students selected for that wonderful course, but you can definitely apply and be considered. And again, it's all made possible because of generous donations to CBN Israel. It's wonderful what's happening. It's wonderful what happens when you stand with Israel. Here's a word from Lamentations. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. God bless you.